My speed is still just below 20, around 20, where when I was sitting down there, it was usually about middle of 19. So this is only maybe a half a mile an hour faster. And if I stayed here for 10 or 15 minutes, my legs would start pumping up. And that would weaken my efficiency. Whereas when I was sitting down there, a half a mile an hour slower, I could stay there for, I don't know, an hour or more, before, probably more. Yeah, it would be more before I'd start feeling much lactic acid. And we got about a half a minute to go yet. Heart rate will go up a little bit now. 20.3 miles an hour. I mean, I can stay up here and spin it out. Go a lot faster. Get my heart rate a lot higher. And that's when I'm working out harder, especially out on the road. I do a lot of those. But at this resistance, that's a little over 2 minutes. At this resistance, I could spin it out easy sitting down. There's 33 miles an hour. But yeah, keeping that resistance at that speed, my heart rate jumped up to 144. It would keep climbing for sure until I'd reach failure. But that's interval training. That's the way you do intervals. You get it in a taller gear, you spin it out for whatever time your intervals are going to be, 30 seconds, a minute, even 2 minutes. And then I like to use that same recovery time to recover while you're spinning. You're still spinning, but you're spinning easy. Easy resistance, easier wattage. Actually, now that I think about it better, I usually double my recovery time from my hard resistant time. So if I'm doing an interval, 30-second intervals, I'll recover for a minute between the intervals. If I'm doing a hard interval for a minute, I'll recover for 2 minutes, and so on. Like right now, I'm still going 20 miles an hour, 20.6 actually, because I'm at 95 cadence. But this is a recovery for me. I can recover, get the lactic acid out of my legs, because I have an efficient pedaling cadence and efficiency and the mechanics of pedaling. You know, we talk a lot sometimes about bike setup, how you have your handlebars positioned, where your levers are positioned, your rear brake, shifter adjustment, seat height. You can even have a triple clamp that you can move your bars forward or back. And that's all because of different rider sizes. You know, you might have a guy that's 6'4", another guy that's 5'6". You're going to need a different setup, especially on bicycles especially. You have different frame sizes, and the frame size determines where your handlebars are in relation to your seat. That length back and forth this way, how high you can adjust your seat off the pedals. And that with cycling, because you're in such more or less the same position so much, and you're working that wattage, your resistance in the same motion, that those adjustments become key. For instance, where your seat is adjusted, I said it's according to your frame size, it's going to be somewhat adjusted. But you can also adjust that off your seat post, how far your seat is forward and back. And the science for cycling is you want to have it so when your pedal stroke is all the way down, there's a straight line from your front of your knee down to the center of the pedal. That's where it's most efficient. There's another adjustment that's very important, is where your heels are on the pedal. You can adjust that with the cleat on the bottom of your shoe, where how it clicks into the pedal, what position put your heel in. For instance, if your heel is pretty straight or even tilted out a little bit, that's going to put more pressure on the outside of your knee. If your heel is tilted in a little bit more, it's going to put more pressure on the inside of your knee. So you want to have, I had to play with that, because sometimes I would get pain. Usually for me it was on the outside of my knee, and I had, as soon as I adjusted the pedal so my heel was more in, it went away. Could ride, no pain at all. Another thing to be aware of that you should know about is when you're on the front of the seat, it's better for spinning, but it is putting most of the work on your thighs, front of your legs. When you get back on the seat, that's more for power. It's not as efficient to spin fast, but it does recruit the hamstrings. So you're going to be using more of your leg muscles, even your glutes. And again, that's made for a slower cadence, pushing a lot of wattage. So there's changes in your body position you make on the seat. And it's kind of similar to motocross. Certain times you should be sitting way up in the front of the seat. Other times you should be sitting back a little bit. That's mostly for traction differences. Let's see now. Looks like I've been going for about half hour. Now my heart rate is 142, cadence 93, speed 19.5. This is doable for me. Now if you're a young guy, your heart rate, max heart rate, period, like you can get your heart rate higher running, so I like to use running as an example. Your heart rate might be, max heart rate might be 200, and then maybe on the bicycle, maybe it's, let's say, 190. So if you were doing a ride at a heart rate of 142, that should be really easy for you, because that's a very low heart rate for you. But you get us older guys, where our max heart rate, well, on a bicycle, this now is 163. So you can understand that 142 is good. That's probably about 85% of my max. And there becomes a fine line between 85% of your max and 95% of your max. Same way when you're racing motocross. The faster you can go and keep your heart rate lower is more efficiency. You're going to be able to ride better, longer, fewer mistakes. It's going to be sharper. If you're out there riding and you're really going as fast as you can, but your heart rate is like nearly maxing out, how long are you going to be able to maintain that without making any mistakes, without pumping up, getting lactic acid? You know, you might be able to keep your heart rate that high, but your speed's going to diminish because you're maxed out. You save those, if you do have to max out in a motocross race, maybe you have to do it to pass somebody for a lap or two, not even a lap or two, usually for a few sections of the track. And then you can recover on your next lap if you pass them or not. Still maintain your speed. So you can stay below what's called your lactic threshold. Lactic threshold, man, there's a fine line. Cycling or motocross racing, you want to stay below that lactic threshold. Because if you get into it, that's when things start to fail. That's when you're going to pump up and die if you try to stay there. So the key is ride efficiently, whether you're cycling or riding motocross. I knew this a long time ago, and that's why I focus so much on riding technique. To be as fast as you can go, but using the least amount of physical energy possible. And that all comes with technique. That all comes with making the bike do the work for you, so you're not working so hard. That's when you can really start getting fast. So whatever level you're at now, even if you're a pro level, you're qualifying for nationals, by practicing practice drills, like I point out in some of my videos for online coach members, also for even in a lot of my other videos, but especially the online coach subscribers. Even if you're really good, it's going to help you because it makes those techniques easier, more fluid, sharpen them up, so when you're in the heat of the battle and you're really pushing as fast as you can go, you're going to be able to stay loose, maintain that speed without reaching your lactic threshold. And that is huge. Huge benefit. Okay, where are we at now? About 20 miles an hour. 94, 95 cadence. It's funny because when I first start out, before I'm warmed up, 85 cadence kind of feels fast. But after I get warmed up, everything gets loose, working good. 95 cadence is pretty comfortable. Speed doesn't seem that crazy. I'm getting a little dry mouth though. That tastes good. Heart rate 145, 144, 145. Looks like I got about, from the best of my memory, about 8 minutes to go. Looks like, well, maybe even less. I think that looks like 40 minutes. Hard to see in here with this light. Getting a good sweat going. and it doesn't feel like a very hard workout. But earlier I started talking about training consistency, where you're, according to your fitness level, you're giving your body 5 or 6 days a week. Or if you can't make that many days a week, 4 would be good. 3 is okay if that's all you can do. But it'd be better to do 3 days where you're skipping a day or 2 in between, instead of doing 3 days in a row and then not doing anything for 4 days. But however long you can train, the key is to give your body enough stress through exercise, whatever it is, that it triggers that adaptation response to make your body, it demands your body to get stronger, to get more fit for that particular exercise, that demand that you're putting on it. And then give it time to recover. Again, this is a little longer if you're not very fit. Recovers faster if you are fit. And then once it's recovered enough, bam, you hit it again. So that consistency of, I like to call it tear down, recovery, tear down, recovery, tear down. And then there's sports specific training. I mean, this is all about training for motocross. What's going to make you better on the motocross bike. And cardio is the main thing. And then the strength training that you do should be for your sport. And in motocross, it takes a lot of legs and core strength. Upper body, not a whole lot of strength. Some, of course, can't be a weakling. But upper body, it's the one that's moving all the time. And using your reflexes, keeping your center of balance with movement, balancing the handlebars, controlling clutch, throttle, and shift. Well, shifters your feet, but clutch and throttle especially. So I'm still working on perfecting my strength training exercises for motocross. Now cycling, if you're doing a lot of cycling, whether it's in season or off season, you can't do a lot of leg strength training too. Some, but not a whole lot. Because it's two different things. Strength training is slow twitch muscle fiber. It's going to make you stronger. Actually fast too, until it pumps up. Then it's slow.